What's going on, guys? Welcome to Bake It with AJ. I'm AJ, and today, instead of plain old macarons, which macarons are always special, but instead of plain old macarons, we have chai spice macarons because what's not to love about that? The recipe can be found using the link in my description. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can join me every Wednesday for new episodes of Bake It with AJ. These are just elegance in your hand, so let's get started. In a bowl here, I have 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar with 1 cup of almond flour and a half teaspoon of salt. I blitzed this in my food processor to make it really fine, and then I put it through a fine mesh sieve to ensure it was completely smooth and lump free. Once that's done, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of chai spice mix. Now, I have a recipe for chai spice mix. It will be in the link below, as well as the description box, just so you can see it easily. Now, once your chai spice mix is incorporated into the almond flour mixture, we're gonna set that aside and move over to our stand mixer with the whisk attachment, or you can use a hand mixer with a whisk attachment as well. I have 3 large room temperature egg whites with another half teaspoon of salt that we are beating on high until they get stiff, foamy peaks. Once they reach stiff foamy peaks, we're going to slowly pour in a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar with the mixer on about medium speed. Once you've poured in all the sugar, give that bowl a scrape down to make sure there's no sugar stuck to the sides, and then beat it on a high speed for a few minutes until you get stiff, glossy white peaks. It's basically meringue at this point. Once you're at that point, we're going to add our vanilla extract, about 1 teaspoon, incorporating that. And then now comes the important part where we're going to add our almond flour mixture in about 3 parts, gently folding in each part. Now, once that last third of almond flour is in the batter, you want to keep folding it until you get a lava-like consistency, which is when you can hold your spatula above the batter and form a figure 8 with it. Do not stop mixing until you get to this point, but once you do, absolutely stop mixing because this is where you can easily mess up. You don't want to overmix it, but you don't want to undermix it. Just pay attention, make sure you can form that figure 8, and you're good to go. So into a piping bag with a round tip, this batter goes, and I have my silicone baking mat here. If you don't have one, you can use parchment paper on a large cookie sheet. And I'm just piping small circles, trying to make sure they're as uniform as possible, but I will admit I'm not a macaron expert, so some of these are a little different in size, but that's okay, they're just for me. Now, once your macarons are all piped, this is another essential part. Leave these on the counter at room temperature for a minimum of 45 minutes until you can gently touch them and no batter sticks to your finger. This is going to prevent them from cracking in the oven and help them hold their shape as they rise. Now, once they've sat out long enough, have your oven preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit and bake them for about 15 to 17 minutes until they are completely set. Do not open the oven while they're baking because they need the steam that's evaporating in there to bake correctly. So once these are done in the oven, take them out, let them cool on the pan for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then slowly and gently peel them off the silicone or the parchment and allow them to cool completely. Now, to fill these, I'm just gonna make a simple vanilla buttercream. So in a bowl, I have 1 stick of unsalted butter completely softened to room temperature that I'm just mixing on a high speed until it's nice, light, and fluffy. Then I'm gonna add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and incorporate that. Now I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar, a half a cup at a time. Between each half cup, just make sure it's fully incorporated before you add any more sugar. Once all the sugar's in there, we're simply gonna transfer this to a piping bag with a small round tip. And now comes the fun part, assembling. So I have inverted half of the macarons here because you don't want to pipe frosting on every single one, because whatever number of shells you have, half of that is going to be the total number of cookies. So pipe frosting on all of the inverted macaron shells here, and then put the little lids on, make them happy, nice little meringue cookies, and that's it, folks. Now, meringues are a labor of love, but when you do it right and they come out and they're pretty and they taste good, it's just something to really smile about. I love these, and I don't make as much as I should, but when I do, honey, I celebrate. Once again, the recipe can be found using the link in my description, which takes you to my website. Go ahead, leave me some comments and hit that thumbs up button. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can join me next Wednesday for another episode of Bake It with AJ. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. It really is one of the most satisfying things in the world when you go to the effort to make these and they turn out really well. You have to prevent yourself from eating all of them in one sitting because, honey, it's hard not to.